Hello, my Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in twin flame relationships. Welcome to your twin flame reading for September 2019. I am your reader, Mark A. Lyons, now for short, at Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch. I'm a professional witch. I'm a professional intuitive, been doing this the majority of my life. So here I am to serve you today. We're doing things a little bit differently. It seems every time I do a new series of readings, zodiacally speaking, they give me, my guides, my angels, my masters give me new ways to do it. There's always creativity coming. So yeah, I'm just going to go with it. They also told me to go as long as needed for these twin flame relationships, because if you go and watch my video clarifying twin flame soulmates and true lovers, the link is in the description box below, along with all of the links and names of the decks that I'm reading. If you go watch that video, you'll see that the definition that I'm working with, relatively new on the planet, though probably how it's been all along. Twin flames are pre-incarnational soul contracts that teach you how to love yourself, how to heal yourself, how to take care of yourself. They are turbulent, they are transformative, they are tricky, and they are absolutely necessary on the path of true love. Being your spiritual path, your healing path, the warrior's path, the hero's journey seen through the lens of your relationships. It's all about you. It's all about your path, your growth, the character that you're playing on the path. But twin flames are necessary contracts. So go have a look at that if you haven't yet, just so that you get the definition that I'm working with here. That soulmates and twin flames are not the same thing in this definition, because soulmates are satisfying. You help each other heal. Twin flames are turbulent, and they teach you how to heal yourself, how to love yourself, how to respect yourself, how to set boundaries. So really, if you look through that lens, you'll see, like, oh my God, I've had tons of twin flames, and here I was thinking there was one, and only one. Well, there is only one of us. Unity consciousness is the truth. It's so funny. We search for love in all these external forms, right? And it is what we are at our core. So cliche and true at the same time. So let's dive in. I bless the decks for the Cancerian collective. Felt very calm, very relaxed, very centered. So let's see how this goes, shall we? I do have a little bit of a cough thing going on, so I may need to drink my water. My holy, I mean, I bless my water all the time anyway, but made a little extra something to get me through this. So I may be coughing throughout. When I first started doing these readings, interestingly enough, I would cough just about before or during every time I switched from one deck to the other. But then I was only using 3, maybe 4. Now I'm actually using 8 for these readings. Again, all listed in the description box below. So let's dive in. Just re-grounding myself. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters. What is the archetype? What is the soul power that the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs and twin flame relationships for September 2019 are developing as part of their contract, the twin flame contract? What role are they playing? What power are they alchemizing from lead to gold within themselves in this twin flame relationship? The servant, okay? The servant. Now, we'll talk about that, because servants have always been, whether, you know, I'm a Virgo, I'm very familiar with the archetype, because it is very much about serving God, serving life, serving humanity, serving another, but in its lead and gold, in its shadow and light. It can be pretty intense in a twin flame relationship if you're the one doing all the serving, or not serving yourself, right? So let's tune to the angels here. My angels, please, one card for this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign servant, archetypal servant, in this twin flame relationship for September 2019. Please, one card to help clarify, to add to what this servant is serving or serving with. Oh, celebration. Oh, that's happy. Celebration usually about completion, right? You usually celebrate something that has come full circle. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the end. You celebrate a birthday, it's the end of the year, but the beginning of the new, right? So it's sort of like the world card in that sense in the tarot. That's feeling nice. I'm going to get this whole line out first. Actually, I'm doing the 5 usuals that I do. Carolyn Mace archetype cards. I got to slow down. The angelic healing oracle. See. Daughters of the Moon tarot, Fiona Morgan. The Love Pack, Chuck Spezzano, and the Whispers of Love. I'm going to lay down that line of 5, and then I'm going to clarify with 3 other decks. You'll see. So, my gods. Now, particularly, I was told for this particular round of Twin Flame reads, I don't know it's going to be like this always, to really draw guidance and grace from the god or goddess that sits in the zodiacal throne in my pantheon. So Cancer is Hera. Hera may also switch out with Hestia every now and again. It is my 12th house. I never thought of myself as being connected with Hestia, but there's 12th house unconscious mysteries for you. So sometimes Hecate. So, you know, Hera doesn't mind sharing with her sisters. So it's Hecate, Hera, and Hestia, right? It would just be that way. I didn't make that up. That's how it came to me. So, but this very much feels like the queen. She is my annual matron this year, hence the word annual. So she, at Yule, I will be, she's going to hand me over to a different goddess, and I do the same thing with the gods. So this Cancerian energy is very well known to me. It's my mom. I've always had Cancerian women in my life. So I feel very much the tenderness, the love, and the compassion, and the support if you're in a twin flame relationship. Otherwise, why would you be watching this? Led here thinking it's one thing, finding out that this definition is another. Hang in there. This might benefit you. Because if you're here, that's the prayer. May this be the best reading I have ever done, and may it serve whoever it most needs to serve. Well, there's that word, servant. All right. So here we go. Hera. Oh, my matron, my mother, my queen, please. One card in clarity for the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs and twin flame relationships. Servants in celebration, please. Give us a piece, a clue, a tip, a hint. Ooh, Coyote Woman the Trickster. Coyote Woman the Trickster. So, one half of the Devil card in this deck, the other one being Oppression. We'll see if that comes up in any other lines, because the first line is for you, my Krabby Crabs. Second line is for the other in the twin flame relationship, if you like the other twin. And then the third line is an overview of the relationship itself. So since we really do have Major Arcana card on the table, we'll talk about that once we get this first line out, and then we'll do our clarifiers. My masters, please, one card for the Cancerian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs and twin flame relationships for September 2019. Please, these Cancerian servant archetypes with celebration and the trickster. Please, a clue, a tip, a hint. Ooh, commitment. Now, interesting. A commitment celebration with the trickster. Oh, now look, let me say this now. Hera is the goddess of marriage, so not shocked. But to throw in here before I even throw down the next card, that you can be married to a twin flame. It doesn't mean you have to get divorced. You just have to get what the strategy of the game is, what is it for. Even in Course in Miracles, it says the question to ask, what is it for? What is it for? Twin flames are to help you learn how to heal yourself, because the other person, by definition, by contract, sacred contract, cannot give you what you need, right? They can love you, but they can give you the love the way that you need it and or want it. You have to give that to yourself in some way, and that's what the path is about and the contract is about. So even if you are getting married or you are engaged or there is some kind of, let's just say, tricky commitment celebration going on here, well, take it in stride. That then you can look at it as saying, well, then I'm committed to learning how to heal myself, right? Because then your soulmates can come in as you transform, and maybe you stay with this person, maybe you don't, but you'll know that you gave it your all, no matter what happens. And we don't usually regret the relationships where we left it on the dance floor, so to speak. So let's get you a whisper of love. I love these cards. A whisper of love, please, from my pantheon, my collective pantheon of angels, gods, and masters. Please, a whisper of love, a bit of guidance and grace for this Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. In twin flame relationships, these servants in celebration with the trickster and commitment, please, a piece of guidance and grace for them. Love makes the difference. I've never drawn this card before. Love can help heal past hurts and provides a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. Okay, love makes a difference. Well, it certainly does. That makes sense, that a commitment to love, that it make a difference, but can you release your attachment to the outcome of what that difference is, right? Because if you're learning how to love unconditionally yourself and this other person, by the way, just because you're learning how to love yourself, respect yourself, doesn't mean that you can be a straight out asshole to the other, right? Just because it's twin flame, no, not the point. That your contact and your conduct, interesting combo there, evolve as you transform and evolve on the path. So I get this tricky part of this, really just looking at the first line of as is, with this servant archetype, light and shadow, light attribute, delighting in serving others with a free and loving heart. So we're going to talk about the delighting there, delighting of service there. Then we can look at this card of celebration, that there is a delight there, that is a soul power moving through to serve. But the shadow attribute, using the lack of money as an excuse to not move forward with one's life, right? So indentured servitude, which is not the same as slavery, because the slave is a different archetype entirely. But you can see where the two overlap. A lot of times with archetypes, there's such a fine line, like for instance, between the rescuer and the healer. Perfect example. I'm a healer, I'm not a rescuer. But someone can really have the rescuer archetype, see themselves as a healer, and yet there's a repetitive pattern and lesson there in the rescuer that does not necessarily happen in the healer, and vice versa. So interesting first line. Let's get some clarifiers. Here are the new decks. By the way, I KAHN'd my house a few months ago. I have to do it again. I think it's just one of those things. I still fold my laundry the way she taught me. Thank you, Netflix. Thank you, Marie Kondo. Blessed be Marie Kondo. So I came across all these decks that I had in boxes and stuff as I really went through. I moved in here about 1.5 years ago into my home, my new home. I love it so much. And so I have them all in my my sideboard, or you want to call it. It really is a sideboard, I believe. And they were just like, go in there, pull this one out, pull this one out, pull this one out. I was like, oh my God. So this is the deck of Cosmic Initiation, or the Cosmic Initiation deck, one or the other. Same thing in my mind at the mo. So this one is cleansed, blessed, and tuned to the angels to help clarify the angel card here, the Doreen Virtue. So celebration. So my angels, please, celebration of what here? This Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in this twin flame relationship. Can you please clarify what this celebration is about? A piece of guidance and grace for the Cancerians. Unity. I mean, this feels like marriage, right? This is like a unity, right? We've got commitment there, right? It's commitment to unity. Well, but also, let's call it what it is, unity consciousness, right? To celebrate unity consciousness, what does that mean? Well, to celebrate the oneness of all of life, that we are never separate, and that particularly are we serving ourselves when we serve others? Yes, we are, but are we celebrating that every time I serve someone, may every service I do be a service to all of life, right? Something to think about. By the way, it doesn't mean you're running around in a maid's outfit. You know, we serve in so many ways. This is my service. I'm a Virgo. I did readings face-to-face for decades. So this is really new for me. So it's sort of like using one of my best skills in a whole new way. So it is serving me. As I said to one of my reader friends who may be joining the channel, at some point doing her own readings. I said, yeah, it's like I have to like make sure my hair is right and the lighting and everything. My mother's always used to say to me, speaking of a Cancerian, my mother always used to say, Mark, why do you got to make everything such a production? And I wish I had had the foresight to say, practice. Sure, like that's why it's DrawingTheCircle Productions, right? I can make anything a production. The Dream Deck, very Jungian, very psychological, very Freudian, really created to help people, almost like flashcards with their dreams, to have all the different symbols on it. I believe my mom might have given me these. She always finds like these interesting little divination systems. She got me my first deck of runes when I was a teenager. Deck of runes, set of runes, sorry. Sorry, I saw your Norse people. You really don't want to piss them off. But, you know, I got my Greeks backing me up. They love me. It's all one at the end of the day. And it's all unity consciousness. Moving on. So this deck really does help with, I'm finding, being that this is the fourth reading, that I've used this with in this way, that it helps clarify the Daughters of the Moon, the Gods card, with a little deeper insight into the dream symbolism, but symbolism that may very well be playing out in your waking as well as sleeping life. So that applies to both. Oh, my matron, my mother, my queen, my Hera, please. One card to help clarify. Make sure I turn them this way. One card to clarify, please. This trickster card for the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, and twin flame relationships for September 2019. Please clarify, what is this trickster? A little insight, a little help. Ooh, flying. Oh, don't you love a flying dream? I can't remember. I don't remember my dreams. I don't. Although, as I'm dozing off, usually in what I call napitation, which means it starts off as meditation, evolves into a nap. Let's not say devolves into a nap. Sometimes it's what you need. That I'll catch little pieces going in, but rarely ever coming out, usually because an alarm is going off. So flying, I love flying dreams so much. I once actually had a flying dream on a broom. We're talking a good 20 years ago. Flying. The desire to rise into the air unaided is one of the central themes of human fantasy, embodied through the ages in characters from the winged god Mercury, Hermes, to the fictional hero Superman. Did you call him fictional? Did you talk about my boyfriend like that? Kal-El. I am Mal-El. Flying is one of the most exhilarating dream experiences, and the sense of elation that it brings can affect the dreamer's outlook for a long time after the dream. That I will agree. Embrace your flying dreams. It is a reminder of your infinite spiritual and psychological potential. If you can fly, then nothing is out of your reach. Oh, that is really cool. Now you take that as like a regular tarot card. This is really kind of talking about freedom and being unlimited and your spiritual potential somehow hidden within this trick. This is now a good time to do this, right? Because the celebration of unity consciousness really did make sense there. This one does make sense in this way, that the trickster is about how we sabotage ourselves, right? It's the devil card. It's the chains that bind us, that we could easily slip off our heads and walk away, but we don't, right? The tricks we play on ourselves, how we sabotage others, our lacks, our limitations, our attachments, all of that. So really, the great thing about the Coyote, and in this deck, the Coyote Woman, it is a feminist deck, we're talking about a divine spiritual trick here, that sometimes it's the only way that we can learn and heal and grow and evolve is to be tricked into it. So in this trick, so interesting, of celebrating unity and commitment, there's this sense of freedom and flying, right? Right? Be afraid to fly. Have no fear of flying here with this. That feels like, yeah, it is a setup, but it's a divine setup. That's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. So let's clarify this commitment card. And for these, we have a lovely little deck. Well, not so little. The Osho Neo Tarot. Osho was known before that. He changed his name. Before that was the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. If you want to do some Googling, some research there. I wasn't necessarily a follower or devotee, but I've had this deck for at least 30 years. I've had it since my 20s, right? So here we're really looking at a deck, because I am an eclectic witch, of different spiritual teachings from around the world. They tend to be a little bit more focused Eastern than Western, which I like that. I need that balance, right? And it's like, if you're talking Tantra, you're not talking New York City, right? You're talking chakras are Eastern. Yes, we've appropriated them, but you know, oh look, now you can get chakra water. Great. Let's just commodify anything. Sorry, that's my own judgment and opinion I'm working on. So these are lovely, and these are tuned to the masters. So they're the first little roundy deck, this one, cosmic deck of initiations for the angels, the dreams for the gods, and these Neo Tarot for the masters. Now, not technically tarot. It doesn't have a major arcana, minor arcana, court card system. To me, as a Virgo, I mean, that's what it takes to make tarot. Even if the structures and the themes or the variations are different, usually that theme remains consistent. But still, it's a very good deck. Really only have used it for myself for 30 years or so. So my masters, can we please get a clarifier here about commitment? Now this one feels, yeah, I get that right in my belly, that thing of commitment, and perhaps a little fear of commitment going on here, not sure. So will you please clarify for this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign servant, dealing with the celebration of unity, flying with the trickster, right? The flying dream with the trickster with this commitment. Please clarify a piece of your guidance and masterful grace. Death, that which never dies. All right, talk about till death do us part. Now, I know the story behind this card right now. I'm just going to show you, right? There's a Buddha, there's a woman in red, and then there's a dead baby. But the baby died, and so she brings it to the Buddha. And essentially, now look, in fact, the little booklet that comes with it, it's not even a whole book, but when I got this one, I am just going to read the first paragraph of it, because the story, I might even read through it for you. I said I wasn't going to do that, but if that's the prompting, guys, I'll do that. You know me. Number 33. There we go. Death, that which never dies, okay? The eternal, immortal nature of life itself. It's a life force, the content within the form, the ghost in the machine. Thank you, Sting. Bring your attention to looking inside yourself, to that which never dies. You are now ready to let go of what has died or gone. Forget about trying to bring it back, and don't take it personally that it has gone. All right, so we're going to call this a kind of sort of a death card. Now, I'm not going to, read scripture here. I'm not going to culturally appropriate. This isn't my first symbolic spiritual language here, Buddhism, but I love a Buddha. Like, who doesn't love Buddha, right? That this woman, her child, her baby, her infant has died, and she climbs up the mountain to talk to the Buddha and says, can you please, Buddha, bring my child back to life, right? And he says, sure, but I need you to go down to the village at the base of the mountain, and get a certain herb, or, I'm really sure, the only child is dead. He smiled and said, you go into the town and just find a few mustard seeds, that mustard seed, from a house where no one has ever died. And of course, she goes down frantically looking for it, and death has touched every house, right? Because she gets, this isn't personal, this happens, right? All that rises falls. All that rises falls. All that comes into form leaves form, right? And she goes back up to the mountain to Buddha, says, I get the point, and she becomes initiated as a nun, right? As a Buddhist nun. So with commitment there, it's like, yeah, something's dying. Not necessarily the relationship, right? Not necessarily you or anyone in the relationship, that physical, literal thing. But getting that, if there is a commitment that you are making here, in order to receive, you must give something up, right? The law of equivalent exchange. Oh, Full Metal Alchemist, Drag queen movement, right? Right? Woo, girl, cat, get a cat, get a cat, get a cat, get it right out and get it right back. Oh, that was almost Bob the Drag Queen. Yeah, so yeah, with this commitment that there's a death, right? You know, it's so funny. What do the French call an orgasm? Le petit mort, right? The little death. Something has to be given up here, but that not to take it personally. It's just part of the journey. And here we go. If you look at this card, right? It is a journey. It is a path, and they are at the gate. And no, we don't necessarily call that a toll gate, but you know, you got to pay something to get in, right? Like for instance, what's in your commitment? Now, by the way, we have so many new relationship structures now. Like, regardless of you know, gender. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, monogamy and open relationship and polyamory, and you know, more are probably coming down the pike, right? That commitments absolutely can be negotiated and should be negotiated. They shouldn't be assumed. You shouldn't have assumed commitments in that way. I know I've said to people that until there's a ring on this finger that I didn't put there, oh, you can ask me a question about where I've been, who I'm with, what I'm doing, but I am not obliged to answer. Where are you, Mom? There you go. Right, Mama? She's like, oh, no, no, no. Until you make that commitment, you are an integral slut. But then one day that ring goes on that finger, whoever that guy is gets the benefit of all of that, right? Them and only them, because that's what I want. You know, I've been single long enough. So when I when a man puts a ring on that finger that I decide to wear, it's not that the ethical slut dies, but transforms, right? And it's not, and it's impersonal, whoever that person would be. Well, I gotta be the right guy, right? Can you tell I was raised by a lawyer, a divorce lawyer, my mother's divorce lawyer, my stepfather Zeus, I call him. Yeah, it's like absolutely negotiate that. Because then with this last card here, because love makes a difference, that this isn't, if this is a romantic thing, and yeah, is there anything jumping out at me here that's saying this is a thing that, you know, I immediately am sliding into that it's a marriage thing because of Hera, and they did say to really work with her here, but with the trickster there, that there's a freedom from sabotage here. There is a rising above, there is a lightness, there is an unlimited potential here, but it's tricky, right? There's a trick in it. But love makes a difference. They're saying, read this again, love can help heal the past and provides a sense of security, self-worth, and importance, right? So to bestow love here, to give love, to feel love, to make this about love, that ultimately your first commitment in any relationship in the new-ish paradigm here is that in spite of whatever may happen, the will of my heart is to be open. Now let's do this, right? So my commitment is ultimately to love, the divine love, to true love. Let's get your second line down here, because this first line, this servant, with a unity celebration, celebrating unity with this trickster, with the flying dream, right? You know, again, like in the picture, flying above it, seeing it from a higher perspective, that might be part of the trick here for you to see it from a higher altitude, from a higher place, a higher vision, with a commitment, even though within that understanding from the masters that what's going to be given up, what is going to die, what is going to be transformed in the process. It's not personal, and that which never dies within you cannot ultimately transform. Well, granted, it's the eternal part of who we are, that core of divinity that we are, and that love makes a difference. So let's get the other here, right? Let's have a look-see-duck-see at the twin, the other in this twin flame relationship. So here we go. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please, one card for the other, for the twin in this twin flame relationship with the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for September 2019. Please, what is the other twins archetype in this? What role are they playing archetypally in the contract? What soul power are they developing for September 2019 in this relationship? Ooh, the Alchemist. Ooh, such a great card. I'll read that again once I get the line filled out, at least with the first 5. That's really cool. I love the Alchemist archetype. I have it teamed with the Healer archetype. The Healer archetype for me is dominant, but the Alchemist comes and goes behind it, sort of changing the quality of it. I love the Alchemist. I talk alchemy, right? Even when I'm talking about each archetype card, I'm talking about lead and gold, even though it says shadow and light on the deck. So here we go. My angels, please clarify for the other in this twin flame relationship with the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for September 2019. Please, a piece of your angelic guidance and grace about or for the other. Freedom. Now, interesting, freedom, and then we've got kind of a feeling match there to the dream card of the flying dream. So there's something in there, right? And interesting, maybe this trick is for you now with that really backing this up, is that the trick is that this commitment may feel like a chain, but really it's freeing you. It's freeing you to a new level of consciousness, to a new level of experience, to a new level. It's like leveling up, isn't it? But like in video games, it's like, well, usually the next level's harder. Otherwise, a lot of people are going to get to the top of that game and get bored with it, right? We always need the next stage of evolution, the next stage of growth, right? So very, very interesting. Hera, please, my matron, my mother, my queen, one card for the other, about the other in this Cancerian Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for September 2019, please. A clue, a tip, a hint of peace of your godly guidance and grace. Ooh, the learner. Okay, so look, the other in this one is learning, is willing to learn. That's the 8 of Pentacles. You know, usually you see it kind of like hammering out your coins, right? You got to get that coin. Great, I just gave a drag interpretation to a tarot card. It's good. Blessed be. Have you noticed that I'm wearing Drag Wars for a queen? The queen archetype. It's for Paul, right? Didn't even realize, wow, the subliminals are just controlling me at the moment. Not so much. I love this card, the card of the learner. It is a crone teaching a maiden how to weave, right? And weaving is just an integral part of all this stuff, isn't it? The weaving of fate, the choices, the decisions that we make. But an earth card, so something very practical here, very hands-on. But so maybe this person is a younger, the other, the twin is younger, which again, I mean, this commitment thing, it could be adoption, it could be, there are all sorts, it could be business partnership. The temptation for us to immediately jump into romantic sexual, I think, needs to be guarded against. Not guarded against, but take in the larger picture that this could be student-teacher, this could be parent-child, this could be all sorts of different arrangements here. And so far, there are plenty of cards here that can talk about, you know, if there's some of this going on, right? So far, not really feeling that, my crabby crabs. Because you're not crusty crabs, you're clean crabs, I can feel it. Let's get us then a Chuck Spezzano love card here. My masters, please clarify about or for the other, this alchemist in freedom and learning. The learner, the alchemist freedom learner. Please clarify with a piece of your masterful guidance and grace for the other in this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for September 2019, please. A piece of your masterful guidance and grace. Trust. Look, you got commitment and trust. Yeah. Come on. There you go. Right? Ah! Oh, sorry. Ah! Parachute. Taking the leap. Leaping over the threshold. Jumping the broom. Gotta say, it feels like marriage. Feels like at least an emotional heart. Right, this is not jumping out of a plane. This is not that literal. Let's get the other. The whisper of love here. This might help. My collective pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please, one card. A piece of your angelic, godly, and masterful grace for the other in this twin flame relationship with the Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising Venus sign in September 2019. Please, a clue, a tip, a hint, a whisper of love. New cards, you want to make sure that you do that. So, one, be in the present and dream of the future. I like that it's dream of the future. Be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible, right? And to trust the dream, right? You got that card of trust there. So yeah, be here in the now, but you can also dream of the future, particularly if this is like a wedding thing or an engagement, or you know what, even boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, boyfriend, girlfriend, oh, please. I mean, we don't want to take away gender pronouns entirely, but just instead of offending anybody, y'all, them, you, us, we, well, maybe in unity consciousness that'll all work itself out somehow. Be in the present and dream of the future. Just really, really beautiful. Whatever kind of commitment is going on here, again, does not necessarily have to be. I just seem to automatically be clicking into that, so maybe it is. I'm just trying to keep this until it's completely clarified. If it can be completely clarified, sometimes the mystical part of it is that it's a mystery, at least to me on this end. If it's clicking for you, though, I think you know what this is. So let's clarify that freedom card. Please, my angels, please clarify, what is this freedom card about, for or about the other in this twin flame relationship? Law of transmutation. Now, transmutation is a very interesting word. It's different than transformation, right? Transformation, really, I just love that cookie metaphor, right? Cookie dough goes into the oven, and it is transformed, right? It was this wet, yummy, delicious. I fucking love cookie dough. But, you know, it goes through this process. It goes through the crucible of the fires of transformation, very twin flamey, and comes out as something in a way completely different. A transformation of all of its parts, of all of the disparate parts becoming cookie, right? Transmutation is a little bit different. It's where the word mutation, you know, the word mutation in there. It's very X-Men, very metagene. That there is a mutation with the law of transmutation. That there, oh wow, with alchemy. Oh my God, I totally get it. I totally get it with this card of alchemy. Oh, let me read this. I'm sorry. I should have clarified. This is really, really, really just jolting me. The light and shadow of the alchemist, the light attribute. Transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. In other words, the ability to take what they have been through, their base motives and goals, and transform them into golden wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience. So forgiveness, for example, is a huge part of the alchemy, self-forgiveness. Embracing the shadow, right? Shadow work. So let's read the shadow. Misuse of the power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice, right? The misuse of that. So just in the light side of this, that whatever this other has been through, they can free themselves from whatever chains that bind. Now, even though Cancerian, you're the one who's got the trickster card, the devil card with all them, their chains possibly, that perhaps they've been through enough that though they are still learning, they have something to share here. Not that they can help you all that much if it's twin flame, but get that they are learning, that they are freeing themselves by transmuting, right? So what's a mutation? A mutation, is, we usually think of it as a genetic thing, right? That there's something in there that triggers at a certain point and then it changes. Yes, transformation changes form, but it evolves, right? So is transformation. So transformation and transmutation, there may well be a subtle overlap there, but it also feels like there's with this thing of freedom that a limitation is being transmuted into or by a freedom, again, in this thing where commitment, that does seem to be so dominant in this reading, that idea of commitment. Like if that wasn't there, this would be a different scenario, but I'm feeling that freedom, that there's a really strong connection there about taking the leap. Let's clarify. Let's get a dream card here for the card of the learner. Such a great card, right? 8 of Pentacles, please, Hera, my matron, my mother, my queen. One card of clarity for or about the other, the twin in this twin flame Cancerian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. September 2019. Please clarify piece of your godly guidance and grace. Oh, Earthbound. Now, I can't wait to read this one. I know what Earthbound means to me. Well, it's interesting because it's got the planet Earth, right? And yet, see this character down here, maybe on the moon, maybe on some other, well, it's further up than that planet. It's definitely not the moon, right? But the signs of the zodiac are encircling, if you can see, very, very faintly drawn, with the signs of the zodiac in a belt around it. So that's interesting that it's incorporating zodiacal symbolism. So let's read this one. Earthbound. In an age dominated by technology. Watch now, I get work at Movie Phone. I should do that. I should do voiceovers. I got 10 million character voices. What happens when you're raised by a Cancerian mother who's a nursery school teacher? Everything has a voice. In an age dominated by technology, it is easy to lose touch with the natural world. Dreams provide an ideal space to reestablish this vital connection. As you prepare for sleep, picture yourself alone on the moon. That is the moon. And how are there planets in between the moon and the sun? Okay. Such a Virgo. As you prepare for deep sleep, picture yourself alone on the moon. Feeling trapped inside a spacesuit, you gaze with longing at the Earth, poised, fragile in a vast universe. Yeah, that's good for somebody who's about to go through a commitment. Reaching out toward it, you find yourself hurtling through space. This sounds like a fucking nightmare to me. I don't like heights. Into the swirl. You find yourself hurtling through space, plunging naked into the swirling blue of the stratosphere. This just keeps getting better, my Cancerians. Bear down. As you drift into sleep, luxuriate in the freedom of your body, awakening in the morning to a renewed sense of oneness with the world. Now, I gotta tell you, what? I'm going to say Earthbound. This feels very much like the card of the world, that there is something that they are learning here that, yes, may well be connecting them, maybe part of their nature, maybe about the unity and the interconnectedness of all things. And considering there's a celebration of unity going on here, I'm going to say that this is about them learning how to ground it, right? How to bring this in. It is an Earth card. We've got the card of the world, well, Earthbound, but it looks just like the card of the world because it's got the world on it. I'm going to stick with that. That feels better than plummeting naked with a spacesuit. I know. Forever young. But, you know, why does that feel a little Freudian? Not so sure about that card's interpretation. I'm going to go off book, as it were, off script, as it were, to say that that's about that they are learning, that they are in a completion phase of learning and ready to move on to their next. I think any other reader looking at that and reading that and feeling this would be like, what? It's Brozlovsky. Let's get you an Ocean Neo Tarot. Oh, the garbage men are here. I don't know if you can hear that. I can. Not distracting. I used to read cards in nightclubs in Boston for cokeheads in the 80s. Great fun. Go to my website, read the About Mark. It's a fun little story there. A snippet of my resume in story form that actually fucking happened. There we go. Okay, so my angels, please, can you please clarify this trust card? Trust in who? Trust in what? How do they trust? Please. A card of your masterful guidance and grace for the other, for or about the other, because crosswatcher, for or about the other in this Cancerian twin flame, sun, moon, rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for September 2019, please. Play, but oh, this is play your role. I think this is Arjuna with Krishna. Play your role. Wow. Play your role. Play your role. 53. Let's just get towards the back. Bear with. 53, play. Remember, whatever you are doing, It is a game. Play your part. If it is a fight, then fight. Stay centered. No need to be serious. Just play. Yeah, is this from the Bhagavad Gita? The war had to start. Both armies were facing each other, just waiting for the signal to be given so they could start killing each other. Arjuna, seeing the millions of people, became a little shaken. God will shut in his chariot. He thought, this is stupid. Just for the kingdom's sake, just to be a king, killing millions of people is not worth it. This thought was so penetrating that he dropped his famous bow. He told Krishna, Krishna was his driver. God is your co-pilot. God's your pilot in this case. Which should have never made sense to me. Why in the world would you make God your co-pilot? God's your pilot. Sees more, knows more, knows where the speed traps are. Turn the chariot away. Krishna was his driver, his charioteer. He told Krishna, turn the chariot away. So, okay, here we go. We got a chariot thing here if we want. I mean, that's pretty direct. And this is my first time really reading this deck in a tarot context. So trust, yet with the hands on the reins, right? Turn the chariot away. Take me to the jungle. Because we've got fun and games. Axl Rose. Leave me there. I want to renounce the world. I don't want this kingdom anymore, and I don't want to fight. Krishna argued with him, as gods often will, convinced him that this was his duty, that he was being a coward, that this was escapism, and finally he made him fight. He said to Arjuna, it is decided by God. The war is going to happen. It is inevitable. Even if you escape, somebody else will have to take your place, but the war is going to happen. So don't you be worried. You are just an excuse that these people have to be killed, and these people have to be killed to save religion. These people have to be killed for the sake of peace. You have to do it. It is your duty. And he gives great arguments, he says, and remember, and he gives great arguments, he says, and remember, when you kill a person, and this is the most dangerous argument, he says, when you kill a person, you only kill his body. The soul is not killed. The soul is eternal, so why be worried? He will be born again. He will have another body. In fact, a new body. You take away an old model and he will be getting a new model because the soul is eternal. Play. That's a hell of a lot for the word play. Getting like, oh, you're gonna play and trust. No, but that makes sense. And also considering we've got death, that which never dies for you, my Cancerians, in this position. Yeah, play your role. Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. It may seem ridiculous to someone that what we have to go through for these spiritual commitments to sometimes satisfy another person's insecurity. But you got to say, look, if I love them and this is what I got to do, this is where I'm being called, I got to play my role. And that's why seeing the world, this quantum hologram, planet Earth, as an extremely realistic single-player video game, right? The shooter, right? Single shooter, like that point of view, then play the role. It does make it a lot easier to enjoy and then be in the present moment and dream of the future. That does make sense. The second line does make sense. So we've got this alchemist here, right? Really taking everything that they've gone through and they're alchemizing all of the leaded experience, perhaps their pain, just everything that they've gone through into golden wisdom that they carry with them into and is in this process of the relationship, that something's being transmuted, that there's a freedom being transmuted, which really makes sense with your line, Cancerian. But they are at a really end of a cycle world card phase here with this learner, with this Eight of Pentacles that they've put in their work. 8, there's only 2 more pentacles to go to make it a 10, right? And that for them to just trust, to play the role, trust the role, that they're playing the role, that they're in the right place, that this is part of a larger divine plan, but game plan, if you like to look at it that way, that all the world is a game, really. It's something that Dionysus said to me in the 80s. One of my first things I heard from him, he said, life is a game, play to win. Unfortunately, I didn't copyright or trademark that because like 10 years later or so, Nike took it up as a slogan. My life would have been just wasn't supposed to play out that way. And then be in the present moment. dream of the future. This is really, this feels really good, but I get the tension. I get the tension of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What am I going to do? Do I trust this? Do I trust this commitment? Who doesn't go through that? And if this is wedding, you know, mazel tov. But again, it can be, again, nothing here jumping out saying romantic. So let's get this third line down. This line is the relationship itself, and it gets the same amount of cards. So we're talking 24 cards in total for these twin flame readings, at least this time around. But if a card jumps out, I will add it. If so guided. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please. A piece of your collective angelic, godly, and masterful grace. An archetype. What is the overriding archetype for this relationship? What is the overall soul power that is perhaps being developed in the collective as a result of this Cancerian Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship in September 2019, please? A piece of your grace. What is the soul power, the archetype for the entire relationship right now? The poet. All right, so lots of words, but words coming from the soul. Very cool. We'll get back to that. You know how I roll now. The angels. This one feels like it's going to come out fast. Let's see. My angels, please, for this overall Cancerian relationship, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, twin flame relationship, September 2019, please can you clarify a piece of your angelic guidance and grace about the poet here? Poet of power, power poet. There's words, there's powerful words in this relationship, but with poetry, that can really go either way. You know, every archetype can go either way, but that can really, I can feel there's a lot of power here. Like every word needs to be chosen and delivered and make sure it's aligned with the heart, right? Like the head is saying one thing, the heart is saying another. Can what comes out of the mouth be the perfect marriage of the two? Thank you very much. Hera as the god. She's in my hands here. Hera, please. One card, guidance, grace, a piece of your godly guidance and grace about this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, twin flame, Venus sign, twin flame relationship for September 2019. Please, a poet with power. Oh, and Libra. Come on, guys. This is like partnerships. Libra, very high, you know, obviously Venus ruler there, the mother of blades, Skadi, the north winds. Beware the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. That this is about, this relationship is balanced. This is pre-incarnational contract, guys. This just feels that. This feels that yes, this is about balancing each other out. If you want to go divine masculine, divine feminine, which I did, I think, for the last twin flame reads, but not this one, or the one before that, I don't remember. This is about balance and harmony, and that's what the relationship itself is doing to both of you, bringing you into balance. But also there's a thing of justice in here and making sure that the give and take, that the negotiation, right? Talk about a legal symbol there, right? The scales. Can you see the scales in that one? Are there no scales in this card? I always thought there were. Wow. Oh, right, because that's in Ma'at. But obviously Libra is the scales. Riding a swan, hunting Skadi, the very beautiful, powerful Norse goddess there. But obviously there's something about balancing the two of you out. That this needs to be negotiated. This really, the words, right? Like, keep an eye on the poetry. I vow, if it's a marriage or vows. Vows involve the gods. Don't screw around with vows, right? I vow to love you, to obey, to honor and obey. I'm obeying my angels, gods, and masters. Thanks. I don't know if you heard, Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, right? Love, okay. Honor, yes. Honoring one another, I'm down for that. That's just being a decent person, right? Being a divine being in human form. But obeying, we'll see about that, right? So it's all negotiable, particularly nowadays. I'm really feeling that. Let's get one of the piece of guidance and grace from the masters. Please, my masters, one card to clarify this Cancerian relationship overall, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, Cancerian twin flame relationship, September 2019. Please, a piece of your masterful guidance and grace here. Enjoyment. Okay. go with the flow, take it downstream, enjoy yourself. You know, you don't have to bitch and moan on your way, right? Something very enjoyable here. I like that. That's very, very clear. And hence that poetry flowing. The enjoyment cart is rowing, rowing and flowing. Pagan chants. How they come back. At least it's not air supply. Okay. No offense to air supply. Just yucking it up. This feels really good, and yet I feel the commitment and the risk going on here right in my gut. So please, my collective pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, a whisper of love for the overall relationship here for the Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising sign, twin flame relationship for September 2019. Please, a piece of your angelic, godly, and masterful grace. Be supportive. Make a genuine effort to show you care. Yeah, look, I mean, I know this is supposed to be twin flame, but there's an awful lot of soulmate-y keywords in here as well. Again, does anything here say romantic, sexual? I could make a case for that. I could make a case for that, that this is it. But you know what? Trying to nail this down in a collective of perhaps hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people on the planet, tuning into the archetypes in this way, this could really play itself out in so many different ways. So let's get our last line of clarifiers here. My angels, please, one of these cards, the Cosmic Deck of Initiation, please, your angelic guidance and grace to clarify this power card for this Cancerian twin flame relationship. Universal truth. Power and universal truth. Universal truth. That there is great power and universal truth here, but what is that truth about? Well, I'll tell you, the poet... Oh, I forgot to read that. I will read that now. I am going to pair this momentarily with this, even though it's with the angel card of power. That the poet can unknowingly express universal truth. Why? Because the light attribute expresses soul insight in symbolic language. Right? So I love you forever. Very poetic, very romantic, but we are eternal love, therefore love that transcends time. Hence, that's the and ever. Whenever you say forever and ever, the and ever real, because isn't necessary, otherwise doesn't forever cover everything, but and ever means outside of time too, just timeless without time. Shadow attribute turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. So remember, this poet is not about one or the other. It's about the third in the relationship, which is the relationship entity itself. So there's you, my Cancerian, there's the other, and then there's the relationship is almost is a being unto itself, and that there's universal power, the power of universal truth. But with the poet, there's something about expressing it there, and to be very, very careful in the alchemization, because if you both have that, you may be expressing these beautiful poetic words that the other might not be hearing it quite the same way as you are attributing it, particularly for the other who is in completing a cycle of learning here, right? And also, yeah, with this card of the devil, the trickster, and the flying dream, that you really want to be careful that you negotiate this, that you communicate this wisely to each other, but from the soul, and saying, yes, I want to live with you forever, or I will be here for you forever. You know, take that out of the romantic marriage couple schmuple thruple. I don't see a thruple here. You take it out of that. That can be like, yeah, you could feel that for a child, you could feel that for a parent, you could feel like a best friend, but just make sure that there is clarity in there, that this is balanced, right? This Libra card, in fact. Let's get that clarifier here. Hera, please, my matron, my mother, my queen, please, one card of clarity, a piece of your guidance and godly grace to clarify this Libra card for the overall Cancerian relationship, sun and rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for September 2019, please. A glimpse of your godly guidance and grace. Oh. Marriage! I'm having a conscious, I'm allergic to the moment. Oh my God, I can't believe it's marriage, and there's the ribbon, you know, and the 2 rings, right? The hand fasting, there it is. Because I thought, I was like, what is that, a snake? No, that's marriage. Oh, and doves. I guess they got Snow White to do the decor. Need birds touching my shit. I'm feline. My last name is Lyons. Marriage. Marriage is the cornerstone of the traditional family unit, representing security and companionship, a means to share the burdens of life's responsibilities. Yeah, put that on a cake. Dreams featuring positive images of marriage may reflect the dreamer's inner stability and confidence in the future. However, if the marriage in your dream is under threat, look for parallels in your own marital relations or those of parents or friends. Can you identify the cause of the problems in the dream? A breakdown in communication, a cooling of passion, or how about a balancing out of a twin flame relationship through commitment? Now, this does not have to mean literal marriage. Come on. By the way, one of the things that annoys me most on planet Earth, I'm working on it, it doesn't trigger me like some things like watching the news, but when people say literally, it's like, if you're a reader, it's like, no, it's symbolically. It's like, you are literally riding a swan hunting. It's like, no, you're not, you're symbolically. Just saying. It bothers me. It's like supposedly. It's supposedly. Yeah, I was raised by a teacher. This marriage, whatever it is, even if, okay, they're being kind, they're saying even if this is a business marriage, right, like a business partnership, Libra, one side of the scales in relationship to another, right? This could totally be like that could be in here too, but chances are for a twin flame situation here, you're looking at a marriage partner here. So I was saying we needed a card. There it is. But again, they're giving me wiggle room. Don't want to pen anybody in. Don't want to commit you in this relationship until you're ready. But you know, right? Feel what's going on. What's going on in your energy system while I'm reading this, you know? What are your chakras saying about all of this? Well, let's ask the masters. Last card down. Please, my masters. Last card down. One card, please, to clarify this Cancerian relationship, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. This twin flame relationship. What's going on here with this card of enjoyment? Please clarify this card of enjoyment, please. A piece, a touch of your masterful guidance and grace. What's going on here in this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship? Wholeness, WHOLENESS. This is lovely. Oh, look, we got a king there, and something's been cut, and something's being stitched. Oh, that kind of almost instantly talks about reconciliation, but let's have a look-see-dooksy, shall we? Number 40. Card 40. Sweet Georgia Brown. Wholeness. Just checking. Yep, wholeness. Look within and see if you are whole, W-H-O-L-E. There is a recurring theme here. Scissors, here, let me get that for you here. Sorry, lost my place. Scissors are like the mind. They cut, they divide. The needle is like love. It brings things together. It heals what is torn apart. Open your heart to love, and love will make you whole. I know, all the like committed single, no, I'm staying single forever. I can feel you. I get it. It's like this. There is definitely a divine contract here. And look, don't get too freaked out if this is a twin flame marriage, because this is something Matt Kahn said on the subject. Go watch his video. I mention it a lot in the clarifying twin flame soulmate true lovers video that I did. He talks about on TV how like all of the sitcom couples are pretty much twin flames, but packaged in a soulmate way that it all works out by the end of the episode, but they're constantly triggering each other. I mean, going back to Ralph and Alice, the honeymooners, millennials, check it out. We're brilliant. He was raised on that shit, right? I mean, maybe a few exceptions, like the Dick Van Dyke Show. I think they were truly soulmates, maybe even, you know, Greg and Carol Brady, right? It seems very soulmatey in that way. They weren't triggering. The kids, however, had to go. And that's Sam the Butcher. Screw Sam. Apparently Alice did. What was she doing in that back room? Look, I gotta say, Cancerians, this feels like an opportunity for you to play this game, for this other to play their role, but you also get that this is tricky, but that you're the servant. Let's go back to the very, very first card down. That Cancerian, make sure that you are serving yourself in this. That if you're doing this because out of lack of money or as an excuse to not move forward in your life, well, it kind of cancels that out because, well, marriage, you're moving forward in your life. There's a new commitment here. But that fear of losing perhaps your freedom, right? That death of what? In that first line, death. You know, that the transformation, you're going to lose your freedom, but really that's the trick. The paradox here is that with that dreamer card, that there's actually a freedom here. So keep an eye on your dreams. Yes, I've heard a lot about flying dreams being sexual, but you know, it's also about freedom and empowerment, right? And love makes the difference. For this alchemist other, this twin here, that freedom with the law of transmutation. I would even go Google law of transmutation if you're the cross watcher, or even if you're not, just get something clearer than that, because I don't know if there is a law of transformation, except that everything transforms eventually. I'll do my own research on that as well. Then we've got the learner here with that interesting card of being earthbound, about being grounded, about also completing, and maybe also that they're learning how to bring this into physical form fully, to connect it, to fully ground it and bring it into manifestation. At an 8, they're still learning and working on it, perhaps, but they're coming into a cycle of completion, making the 8 of Pentacles into a 10. Which is really what you want in this situation. If it truly is marriage, well, again, even if it's like boyfriend, girlfriend, going steady, boyfriend, boyfriend, you know what I mean. Any level of commitment going on here, even business, for them to play their role with trust, and trust that they will play their role to the best of their ability, but to be in the present and dream of the future. This definitely feels like bridey, groomy, 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 bridey, bridey stuff. And the overall here for the relationship itself, the poet, right? Speaking in symbolic language from the soul, expressing soul insights, right? That when I see you, I fall into your eyes and swim for days in the lusciousness of your grace. No, it's not literal, right? That is symbolic language. But that there is universal truth, powerful universal truth at work here. So, you know, where there are deceptions, where there are tricks, call upon the power of universal truth to straighten things out, to show you, but when you're ready for it. Because come on, this Libra card with the marriage symbol, dream card on top of it, is just so much about balance and about harmony and about really bringing this together. But again, there's that sense of serving because of the servant there in the alchemist, that there's a servant alchemist poetry here that is about transforming the world as well, the collective, as one heart heals, all hearts heal, as is the enjoyment of this wholeness card, and this wholeness and enjoyment, that really this is there's something, again, satisfying is soulmates, but there's something here about that this does not have to be so horrible as both of you might be afraid that it will because of past experiences, that too can be transformed, and that ultimately to be supportive. This relationship is to be supportive. The relationship is almost like the soulmate for each of you individually. That kind of makes sense in a way. So, my darling Cancerians, good luck with this one. Please comment if this is. I would love to hear the different variations. You know, I should say that more often in these videos. Please comment. What is the relationship structure that you are in that is plugging in this way for you, right? You know, let me know, because I could see this playing out so many different ways, but this marriage theme feels so dominant. So my Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Sign, and Twin Flame relationships for September 2019. May you be blessed with all that you need. May the alchemist, be blessed with all that they need in this Twin Flame relationship, that it help you both learn, that it help you both grow, heal, become the best that you can be. Perhaps Twin Flame, you learn that individually, but that it together be a blessing upon the collective, not just the Cancerian collective, the collective of all. Blessed, blessed, blessed be. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I know these are the long ones. The Twin Flames are the ones that need the long ones. The other ones, I get in, get out, try and do them quickly as possible for an extremely loquacious Virgo. I thank you so much for your time, my darlings, my Cancerian crablets, my crab cakes. But for now, hail. Farewell. Good luck.